If you're watching this video, chances are that you are either a content creator, a YouTuber, or you are just leveraging, like you should, of course, content in your client acquisition process, regardless if you're using paid ads or outbound prospecting campaigns or whatever it might be, and you're just having a hard time to keep track of what content to create, when, how are you going about the distribution of your content in the different social media channels. You might be struggling to know what's in the making, what's not in the making, and even worse, if you have like a whole bunch of different maybe people that are helping you with the content production process, or you're just delegating or outsourcing a lot of the editing for your short-form videos or whatever it might be. You're basically going through a complete mess right now that is not allowing you to focus on the right stuff, which for you as a founder should be actually recording the content and delivering results to your clients or whatever it might be. Of course, typically in my channel we have coaches, consultants, and agency owners. That's the main audience that I have coming to my channel. So I'll make this video more appropriate for you. But if you're any sort of service provider, or you're a content creator or a YouTuber, this video is going to really apply to you specifically when it comes to actually coming up with content ideas. Make sure to watch this video 2x speed. That way you're going to save yourself some time, when you're going to see me talk twice as fast. And if you would like access to that template that I'm going over right now, you can always just come to my free Facebook group and you will get access to it in there with the link in the description. Or if you don't use Facebook that much, come to my Instagram and follow me and DM me the word YouTube and I'll send this your way. So guys, before I actually walk you over the content production pipeline and how we actually manage everything on ClickUp, that's a platform that we use to manage our content creation process. But of course, you can always use Asana, Trello, Monday, or whatever platform you want to use. Before I walk you through that, I need you guys to really understand the rationale and the way we actually go around deciding the process that we're going to then replicate inside of our project management software of choice, okay? Let me just start off by saying that the worst thing that you can ever do is just not have a plan, okay? Because if you're trying to natively create content in Facebook and natively create content on Instagram and LinkedIn and on your podcast and on Twitter and on YouTube and your blog, it's like, dude, what the fuck, right? Like, you want to really have some sort of consistency and a cornerstone focus that you can have, so that you know that once that's done, you can just redistribute that same piece of content, or basically, like paint it in a way that is relevant for that platform, okay? For us, of course, it's YouTube. Not only because it allows for massive awareness, it also does a lot of the selling for us. We are able to get people to watch and consume 7 hours of content so that they can pretty much book calls with us and come ready to buy. If you are one of those, you can book a call and come ready to buy. So essentially, YouTube is the best social media platform that I have found to not only generate leads, but also to nurture leads, to get people to book calls with us. And most importantly, well, honestly, it's the best for repurposing, because you have the video component, you have the written component if you wanted to, and you also, of course, have the audio component, right? So before I show you the actual process and the steps that we use, what you guys need to understand with YouTube is that from one YouTube video that you create, you can, first of all, just take out the audio and repurpose it so that you can have a podcast. So without having to do anything, you have a podcast. You can take out the link of the actual YouTube video and use the thumbnail as a post on LinkedIn. From that same YouTube video, you can just make stories or even just repurpose that short form, the video in a short form fashion to share on Instagram, on TikTok, on a Facebook Reel, on the actual YouTube Shorts, whatever it might be. Then the same YouTube video you can just repurpose, or distribute to your Facebook profile, to your Facebook group, in my case, for example. And not only that, guys, nowadays with your YouTube, you can create a lot of threads on Twitter, and of course, the new big boy in the game, threads. You can create threads from your YouTube videos, and then guess what, guys? From that single effort that you made, you can just distribute this all over social media. And then what you're going to be able to do is have an omnipresent approach to your content creation. You cannot do this if you were using Facebook as your cornerstone. You would not be able to do this if you were using Instagram, so on and so forth. But regardless, I'm just going to use my example, which is YouTube, and I recommend you guys do the same. It doesn't matter if you're primarily using blogs, or if your main source of income or your main source of traffic is your podcast. It could be podcast, and then you redistribute all over the place, okay? How do we actually go about the management of this, guys? Really simple. I mean, the process for us to have not only a YouTube video, but ultimately to distribute, or repurpose this YouTube video and this piece of content, which is our cornerstone piece of content, over social media. For me to show you how we replicate this process in ClickUp, I need to show you the actual workflow that we follow to take an idea that I have in my head of a piece of content that I want to create, all the way to not only a YouTube video, but specifically a repurposed piece of content that I can now leverage in my different social media platforms, okay? And that workflow is pretty simple. We first of all have an idea that, just so you know, and just as a spoiler, we use Google Sheets for that we embed inside of ClickUp, okay? And I will show you what that looks like in a second. Then, once I have an idea, I like to move that idea into my thinking or my draft. And I know that it's like idea and thinking is pretty much the same thing, right? But realistically, the way I separate this in my head and the way I like to reflect this in my ClickUp account is idea is something that I just keep over here in my Google Sheets. So any single time that I have, again, an idea on whatever I want to create a piece of content on, I just basically brain dump that in there. Why? Because it's fast, it's easy, and that way I don't fill my ClickUp with a whole bunch of tasks that are pretty much like non-important, if that makes sense, okay? Because again, it makes no sense to have 50 ideas in here if I could just have a Google Sheet inside of that is embedded inside of my YouTube list, where I can then, based on this idea that I have in here, just brain dump everything. And once I know that one idea is validated or they want to create a certain piece of content, so let's say that it was the example, I can just copy and paste this, delete it from here and add it as an idea inside of the YouTube pipeline. And then I can keep that in the thinking part, because this means that now I'm thinking on how am I going to write, the ideas, the angle that I want to use, the actual thumbnail that I'm thinking about using, so on and so forth, okay? So that's how we actually, or how I like to separate the idea from the thinking. Idea is just a collection of ideas, okay, there I say, that is in my Google Sheets, and thinking is now, I guess you could say plan, it would be a better verb, but thinking for me is just how I represent that idea now inside of my ClickUp account, okay? So that's pretty much that first stage. What I like to do from there is now, once I know that I'm going to create a certain piece of content, I usually like to write some bangers, right? And what those bangers are my Google Docs. So before I film the video, I need to create something visually so that you guys get to know what I'm going to talk about in the first place. Once I finish writing, then what I do is pretty much you go from writing to filming. Then once I finish filming, it goes to editing. Once I finish editing, it goes to scheduling. And once I finish scheduling, it goes to repurposing, okay? And pretty much at every single stage of the way, what we're able to do using a project management software such as ClickUp is pretty much reflect that same workflow that I just walked you over here. Okay, and that's pretty much it, okay? So what I like to do is group this by custom fields. The reason why I like to use custom fields instead of statuses is that statuses are reflected in your entire workspace, okay? In your delivery, in your growth team, in your operations, in your company hub, whatever it might be. And what this means at the end of the day, guys, is that I'm going to have a really hard time separating or keeping track of the actual real stages in a company level that we're working on. Instead, if I'm able to keep this as a custom stage inside of only this list view, it's going to be much more effective. Make sense? So that's pretty much like the way I reflect this in my ClickUp. Let me now walk you over how I like to set up my ClickUp account for this process to make sense, okay? So, like I was mentioning before, I like to have content ideas as pretty much as a view inside of my YouTube list, because again, YouTube is my priority when it comes to content creation, because on my YouTube videos is that I do everything everywhere else. So what I like to do is pretty much enter a view where I embed a Google Sheet, and that Google Sheet is all about my content ideas. Once I know that I'm going to talk about something, I put whatever YouTube idea I had in my thinking process, then I move the idea from thinking to writing as I write, from writing to filming, from filming to editing, from editing to scheduling, so on and so forth. I'll be fully honest. If I had a team that was doing more things for me, and as a matter of fact, I have a lot of clients that they have editors, etc., you can add automation so that the moment that you move something from filming to editing, that's the most common one. Once you finish filming certain videos and you move from filming to editing, you can change the assignee so that your editor can just focus on editing. And then once your editor moves from editing to scheduling, it goes back to you, okay? The reason why I don't do this, by the way, is because I made a promise to my clients that I will not use any sort, I don't know if you have already noticed, but I don't use fancy cameras. I use my iPhone. I don't even use microphones. I don't use any software. I edit my videos myself. I do everything myself, because I made that promise to my clients that I was never going to do anything till I get to 1,000 subscribers. And the reason why is not because of money reasons, of course. It was literally just because I wanted to prove every single one of my clients that it's possible to not only grow the YouTube channel, because of course I don't sell YouTube growth, like I couldn't care less about that, but I wanted them to know that as long as you're adding utility to the marketplace, you are able to grow your channel, get some traffic to their Facebook groups, etc., and most importantly, make money from their business, leveraging these assets on YouTube on their growth campaigns, either using paid acquisition or outbound prospecting campaigns or whatever it might be. That's a topic for another video, of course, but I just want you guys to know, fun story, okay? So this is pretty much it, guys. And what I like to do is that all of the tasks that you see here, of course, are the videos that are in the making, that are active, etc. I like to set up another tab or another view that is a list view, where I basically like to group by status, where the status is actually complete, aka these are my published videos only. And what I like to do is show only my complete videos, because what I can do now is have some sort of hub where all of the videos that I have created, I can have access to the Google Doc in here, to the YouTube URL in here. So I just like to have like a separation. Here is like the videos that in the making, these are the published videos, and these are the content ideas, okay? So guys, realistically, that's all I do to manage my YouTube channel. That's all I do to manage the content that I create on my LinkedIn profile, on my Twitter profile, on my Instagram profile, so on and so forth, okay? The last thing that I would like to mention is, again, the biggest insight that I can share with you guys, aside from just using a software like ClickUp, is that you actually have a cornerstone social media platform where you then distribute, especially if you're not making 100 or 200K per month, where you can basically start using more money to be omnipresent and creating super specific platform, super specific content for all platforms. The best thing you can do is just focus on one platform, where then you know that once you make your 1 or 2 videos per week, or 3 videos, whatever you want to stick yourself to, you can just distribute that all over the place, okay? That's number one, the biggest insight, and then creating a workflow that you then replicate in your project management software of choice. I would also like to tell you, sorry if I haven't created so much content, and if you're following me on other social media platforms, you know that I have been not as active as I would typically like to be. But the truth of the matter is that I've been making updates to my program, changes on how I like to go around everything. For example, we just finished recording this entire module on foundational selling content and copywriting, which is 12 videos on how to write foundational sales letters, YouTube micro VSLs, on the appointment setting model. I made a lot of updates also on the sales process and closing deals model. I've been just focused way too much on this, and I will actually still do this for what's left of this week and the next one. So yeah, I apologize with that, but once I'm done with the program, I'll be creating the bangers for you guys a little bit more frequently, and well, super excited just to share with you guys all of the things that we have in stock. Call to action time, guys. If you run a marketing agency or some sort of B2B coaching / consulting business, or if you're looking to start a marketing agency or a B2B coaching / consulting business, there is a link that you will find in the description, which is going to show you the way we can help you scale up all the way to 50K a month, like a lot of our clients have done so far. And that will be pretty much it for this video. Last thing I would like to do before we finish, since this is just, you know, like what we are used to in this channel, I like to recommend some songs for you guys. And the song I want to recommend is this called Efecto by Gabriel. Go ahead and listen to this song. Tell me what your thoughts are on Instagram, because I've been unable to listen to any other song that is on this one because of how good it is. Like, I'm just having it on repeat left to right, okay? So guys, hope that you enjoyed this one, and see you guys in the next one. Love you all, okay? Bye.